Welcome to the Living Life Juicy podcast, where we explore how we can be present and kind as we do great things by talking with people who are living their life juicy. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so more people can explore how they can live life juicy as well. Also, be sure to check out some of our other resources. The Growing People podcast, where we post explainer videos and other material on how people and groups can develop. The Into Wisdom group, which is guiding people and groups to their next best step towards growth and sustainability by designing experiences and resources to develop individuals and professionals and their organizations. Go to intowisdomgroup.com. And lastly, I've got a book coming out, The Pottery Panda. It's a business fable about strategic planning that follows Peter, a raccoon, who starts his own business. Visit potterypanda.com to find out how you can pre-order a copy. So today, I want to introduce our guest. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Jeff Losey, a man who does many things for our community. Jeff is the CEO of the Old Boney Mountain Foundation for Kids, a nonprofit organization that focuses on empowering children to achieve their dreams. Prior to this role, Jeff spent over 35 years in the insurance industry, holding various positions, including vice president and head of professional development. Jeff is also my brother. So welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to get into a little bit. It's like, yeah, you're my brother, but we haven't lived under the same roof for a long, long time, and we each have taken very different and interesting paths in life. And I would like you just take a second and how do you describe who you are and what you do to people right now?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, because I retired from Farmers Insurance in January of 2022. And I don't know, maybe there's some people out there that have retired and they kind of go, what am I doing? Well, the reason I retired from corporate life was really to get into the foundation work. I wanted to trade money for time, and I got the time now to do what I want to do, and that's the Old Boney Mountain Foundation for Kids. That in a nutshell, if you want to know what our mission is investing in the future of local youth who are striving to overcome hardship and become inspired adults. And kind of the basis for that, and what I'm doing today is putting together a structure so that we can help local youth who might have some hardships, and hardships can mean many things. But there's a lot of youth in this United States of America who are in a fatherless household or a single parent household, and they don't get the same opportunities that a lot of other kids do. And so, when I was a kid, I got the opportunities, I think, and I think I took advantage of them unknowingly. Because I was put in those positions to where I could succeed. And what we really, on bottom line, is we want to do that for these kids that don't have the means to do it.
So how did, being an executive in a large corporation, a big enterprise, how did that prepare you for the important work of being a nonprofit CEO?
That's a great question. I would say that, I started the community type of outlook or focus during my time at the big corporation. Because we had a lot of corporate programs that supported these types of programs, and so I got to get involved with the fundraising aspects of it, because that's what we did to support these organizations. And as I did, I started really seeing organizations that really were helpful to people. And then I started thinking, if I could run an organization, what would it be? What would be the most important thing I could do that would really inspire me to work every day? And it came down to kids, youth, who don't have opportunity. There's, foster kids, and there's programs for foster kids and for youth that kind of supply their basic needs. They get the food, you get the shelter. However, what's the next step? Where do they go from there? And how do we get them to the level where equal or better opportunity than people who were raised in a full family, I guess, and have funding to do certain things. So that's kind of where the corporate life mixed with, hey, maybe I really do want to spend more time in the community service and specifically with youth, so that that we can change the world. It's they're growing up, and then they're going to become adults, and then they're going to have an impact on our community and this world, and it would be great to influence them in a positive direction to where they have a positive influence on society.
What are some of the biggest differences or surprises or challenges that when you started leading a nonprofit, what's different, and how is it easier and how is it harder?
Well, it's a new world for sure. And when I was at the big corporation, I had big teams of people and plenty of funding to get everything done that we needed to get done for our customers in the claims organization. This is not a big organization. In fact, it's myself and my daughter Shonda who are running it, and that means, as you know, John, you got to do everything. And so you start identifying the various aspects of the business that you need to keep your finger on the pulse of. And then you keep going back and forth to each one to make sure that they're operational and going good.
I don't know if you remember this, but I remember a long time ago, this was when not everybody had a computer in their office. You had a computer, and I was like showing you different things. And you said to me, I don't have to know this stuff. I've got an assistant to do all that. I don't need to learn that. And this is when I had first branched out, or before I went to Farmers and while I was still on my own. And I'm like going, wow, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. I mean, you definitely identify your weak areas when you're kind of doing it on your own. And technology is probably one of my weak areas. And the creativity relative to being able to produce good artwork and things like that for the organization is another area. However, I'm enjoying it, and I think that's important. When I started, it was kind of like everything was kind of disorganized in my mind, and now things are getting organized to where I can see a real impact happening in the community, and that's what's kind of cool. I even got to where I'm setting goals, keep KPIs, and I'm identifying all the data that makes a difference, and working through all of the planning and everything.
Might I recommend the Pottery Panda business table about strategic planning?
I think I would.
Yeah, Jeff is was an early reader on that, and I really appreciate the feedback he offered as we made that happen.
I still, John, that is a good book. That is a good book for anybody who needs to get their planning in order and know what's going to be impactful to change your business going forward. This sets it out in very few words. It's a quick read, and you can really dig deep as you want through the book because of the way you have it formatted with the chapters and then the QR codes that go in as deep as you want. And then at the end, I love it with all the other stuff that you got. So
I appreciate that pitch. Yeah, it's helpful. I still remember before, so just about our history. So we, obviously we grew up and our home was strong and it was held together by strong parents that gave us a great environment. And then we went off to college, and Jeff went off first, and I went to a different college, and basically we took very different paths. But whenever we got together, this is when Jeff was working at Farmers and I was working camps or I was doing whatever. We would have the best conversations about deep things when it comes to organizations and learning and development and planning, and just wonderful conversations. Sometimes with a glass of wine, sometimes in the spa. But and then I had the opportunity of going and working at Farmers thanks to Jeff. I went to visit him one time, and he just kind of casually mentions that basically the CEO, the head of claims, has an open door policy. So I went and I got 45 minutes with a C-suite executive, and just had a wonderful conversation that led to me being hired by the learning organization at Farmers. So then we worked together, separate departments. For a while, Jeff and I were in the learning organization together, and we would go and have these discussions again, and they'd get heated. And it would, like, people who didn't understand our relationship would, like, could hear us speaking loudly through the walls and would, like, ask, "Are you guys okay? What's going on?" I said, "No, this is how we work things out." And I recently found out that the Wright brothers had a very similar relationship, and that they would go at it, and people would wonder how, like, they're so angry. And they weren't angry. They were just really wanting to get to the truth, and would push their perspectives as hard as they could, and then would come back and make adjustments based on what they learned from each other. So that's kind of how we've done this relationship for a while. So I'm wondering, like, what are some of the key things that you're in the process of learning right now? But if you can come up with 2 or 3 key insights or lessons in starting a nonprofit, what would they be?
Well, that's a real good question. First of all, number one is you need to be passionate about it. And whether you're going to join a nonprofit or you're going to start a nonprofit, it has to be something you believe in, because there's going to be trying times when you think, hey, is this working? Is it having the impact that you want it to? So I think just having the passion for it is the first thing. The next thing really is, to me, is don't be in too much of a hurry. It's not, if I compare that to corporate life, you're always in a hurry. You're always trying to get things done fast. This is more strategic in nature, where you have to balance the various aspects of the organization and spend the right time in each one, but also don't get too ahead of yourself thinking things should happen fast, because I don't think they're gonna.
Do you think that I mean, as word for people who are in the middle of the corporate life right now, do you think that is accurate, or is it something that people, like, an assumption people executives put on themselves about the speed?
Yeah, I think the old saying from Covey is real important, and that is, with people, slow is fast. And so to me, what that means is that if you want to get something done right, it's going to take a lot of time. If you just dictate what you want done, it'll never get done and it'll never be right. So with people, slow is fast, to me, means that you have to bring people along with you, which means it has to be ultimately their ideas if they're going to execute on them. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole strategy behind, in corporate life, to me, on how to get people behind whatever it is that you want to accomplish. And it takes a long time. And I think that there's a very, very much a similarity with the nonprofit life, in that it's slower. It really takes an effort to get people outside of your organization to be bought in to your organization, and then give you money. And so, that's one thing I think I started from the beginning here, realizing that it's not going to be fast. It's going to take a while, and we want to see incremental growth each year to be on the positive track.
Well, one of the things that I took away from working at a large corporate, even there's a metric, I believe, around rework, how expensive having to go back and reassess a claim, that gets really expensive. So if you rush through something, even in the technical aspect, having to redo the work is far more expensive than it would be if you just did it right and slow the first time.
Yep, completely true. Completely true.
Yeah. So I want to get a little bit into like where you learn some of these things around being patient and slow, being disciplined. And I think we both shared a couple of experiences that I think are formative for us. First, talk about the role that organized sports has played in making you a strong professional.
Yeah, well, organized sports was a big part of my life growing up, as you know. But I think when I think back to maybe starting in the athletics, it was seeing that if you work each day a little bit on something, it equates to a lot over time. And so, like for instance, when I wanted to be a running back growing up, and I was up until, I don't know, what, Pee Wee football or something, where I was changed to quarterback. And so I was like, I'd rather run with the ball and hit people than get hit all the time and whatever. So then the first thing we did was we were throwing, and everybody threw to see, on the team, trying to find a quarterback who could throw the farthest. And I remember just kind of like throwing the ball maybe 20, 30 yards and just kind of going, wow, that's really bad, And I met this guy who was kind of a mentor and who had worked with a lot of kids that had gone through college and into pros and things like that. And he just kind of took me under his wing, and he said, I'm going to give you some advice, and we'd go out and work out. But he also gave me a little machine, and it was a little rope machine. And he said, if you do this every day, for however many pulls on the rope, because it was a rope that was attached to your door, and it had a little pulley, and you could go like this, and just over and over again. So I did that every day, and my arm got stronger. And then he had a little machine that was a timer for when you drop back to pass, and you had to beat the beep for a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop, whatever. So I did that every day, and my arm got stronger to the point, I think, that when I was in college, I could throw the ball 85 yards when we do the pump, pass, and kick thing. And I was all proud of myself that I could throw it farther than the pros could. I just wasn't very accurate, and that was a whole other thing. But so the discipline that you got from that, from Blue Helmets, the program, we went to a program in the mountains at Forest Home, one of the camps we support now, that doesn't have the program anymore, but it was a very high discipline program for 5 weeks at a time.
Mental, physical, and spiritual discipline. That's
right. And that was in high school. So that was, I think, freshman and sophomore year that I went. And it instilled discipline in my life to where I knew that I had to, be disciplined in multiple areas in order to address and balance my life out with the spiritual stuff, the physical stuff, the relational things with other people. And those things had a big impact on what I do, and really have a big impact on what we do at the foundation, because our goal really is to instill discipline in kids that may not ever get that in their home life. And
I want to go a little bit more into the Blue Helmets program. Are there any like memories or stories that stick in your brain from your experience with the Youth Corps?
Oh, gee. Yeah. Well, there's a couple. One was when our brother Jim and I, we went to 2 separate camps. Like they had 2 separate sessions in the summer. And so Jim was a big runner, and he just loved it, and it had a big impact on him. And long distance kind of runner, and I was more of a sprinter type. But in this scenario, I think they have a 13-mile run at the end of the thing, and I had won that for our session, and he had won for his session. So then the next summer, I think we were going at the same time, and it was like, it really wasn't a competition, but it felt like it. I mean, he was way better than I was at that, and he killed me. But that was one of the things. I probably remember it wrong, but
for me, so we had 3 different styles of running. Jim was distance, you were sprinting, and I couldn't. So when I went, I was in the pool, and so I had to swim for my endurance because I've had really, really bad knees since before high school. And so I, like everybody thought, was jealous that I'm in the pool and I'm swimming, but I had to swim against an Olympic water polo player who was pushing me hard. So when we did there was the dump run. If you remember the dump run,
Yeah.
explain what the dump run is.
Well, that was the one that went to the dump.
No, it was the one that basically it was, I think it was from the Y up, or
The
there was
Y.
like intervals.
Well, it was the Y to well, I don't know if it was a dump, but
Right.
it was
Maintenance.
it was a challenge run, right?
Right.
So basically it was okay if you went through Hell Week at
Right.
this thing, and then as you went through Hell Week, you knew one thing about Hell Week was you couldn't walk anywhere, you had to run everywhere. So that meant like,
And yeah, and the trees. Don't forget the trees.
the trees were the girls. You had to consider girls trees. In other words, don't look at them. Just,
Couldn't talk to them. Couldn't acknowledge them.
yeah. So this was a week of just running and that, and then at the end of the week, if to make it into the next 4 weeks, you had to beat the coaches at this dump run, and it was basically I don't know why it was called dump. There wasn't a dump, but it was maybe you had to leave it all out there. I don't know, but it was.
Yeah. I took it as like, if you don't make it, you get dumped.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Never thought of it. But so anyways, it was just kind of like from the Y, you would go have a goal of getting to one place. The coaches would start way ahead of you, and you had to beat them. And so they obviously didn't do it their fastest, but they made sure that the last guys were pushed, in essence.
Yeah.
And there was always 3-4 guys that didn't make it in the end, and they were sent home. You know, so every year I went, there was at least 3 or 4 that went home. So it was a true challenge.
Yeah, for me, so all my group did the dump run, and I think we didn't have anybody sent home, but we had several people who went home. They wrung out. But so they were going, "Oh, John, you're so lucky you get to do this in the pool." But I was one-on-one against an Olympic water polo player, and he turned out to be a really great friend of ours down the road. But man, he did not let me off. I was amazed. I mean, he gave me a head start, and he would catch me by one length of the pool. And I know that he ended up letting me pass because he was just kicking my butt. But I didn't give up.
Well, I think that's the point, is that they wanted to see if you were going to give up or not. And the kids that gave up kind of went home. The kids that didn't give up, they let them go in. And they knew that whether the kids washed themselves out or they were sent home, they kind of didn't want to be there anyways for the whole 5 weeks. So, it kind of turned out for the best, I guess. But the point is that you don't really get that kind of discipline in your daily lives without intentionally bringing it upon you or having someone else introduce you to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me, how has that experience impacted your perspective and what you're doing with the Old Boney Mountain Foundation for Kids?
Well, it's in a couple ways. Personally, it's really impacted me because I know that every day I need to get up and I need to do certain things in order for it to be successful. And then the other thing is really identifying what success means for the people that are going through the programs, and how do we know it's successful? How do we know what we're doing is going to be successful? And it's an everyday exploration into that, from the old surveys to participation to feedback from people that we work with, a lot of the youth leaders and pastors and things like that.
Well, you're working on, is it the 30-day challenge?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, because like I've got a book coming out, but we want to get this book out. Tell me about what it is, who it's targeted for.
Yeah. It's called the Climbers Challenge. It's a 30-day devotional for kids where they spend 5 minutes a day on the devotional, and it's really focused on kind of a format, and the format is like each day you would do let me see, there's a read. So there's a kind of a Bible verse you'd read, then a reflection on that verse. More or less, it's a lot of things that, we live through that we can kind of reflect on and say what it kind of means to us. And then there's like a prayer about it. And then there's an action item. What can you do that's kind of in this realm? And then there's a daily checklist. And that's kind of stuff that you should do every day, like read a Bible verse, which you'll do in this program, in this devotional, pray, do something to help someone, stay positive, eat breakfast, take a shower, the basics of life that maybe some people don't do. And then there's some, like in the 30-day challenge, there's actually a push-up thing where, we say, hey, every day, just do as many push-ups as you can, just once, in the morning, whatever, just do as many as you can. And the reason we do that is because, like, after 30 days, you might go from being able to do 10 push-ups to being able to do 60 push-ups. And the point is that you learn that if I just do something every day, I get better. And I've never seen anything kind of really show it so much as like just simple push-ups. It doesn't take anything.
Well, that's a direct application of what you're talking about when you're learning how to be a quarterback, of sitting there and pulling on that rubber tube or using the beep box. About you get to see growth in over a short period of time. It's a powerful thing to see progress.
Yeah. And that's the point is, and that's what you kind of thrive on, I think, every day in business, like your question. I like seeing that my work equates to something that's impactful. And that kind of gets into the whole hot sauce thing and everything too.
That's a great segue, Jeff, because I want to hear more hearing about the hot sauce and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted your thought, but I want to explore the hot sauce.
No, I mean the hot sauce in that, and you can see behind me that there's hot sauce and there's a banner that says Hot Summer Night on it. That's a means to an end, and it's a fundraiser that we do every year, Hot Summer Night. It's an international hot sauce competition where people from around the world send in hot sauce with an entry fee, and the entry fee goes to the foundation, and it's our major fundraiser of the year. And there's a whole bunch of aspects to it, like judging and awards and a fundraising event and things like that. So that means to an end is ultimately fundraising. It's a way to get funds and for the organization, and we're always exploring a better way to do it. I hope that the hot sauce community sticks with us and keeps doing it. I don't know how it was our 6th year this year. So,
well, tell me, like, that the international hot sauce competition, it's unique. It's one of the only ones of its kind, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of competitions, hot sauce competitions. There's even world competitions. It's unique in respect to it's probably the only one it's the largest one for charity, where 100% of the proceeds go for overhead of the event and the charity organization, and that's it. So everything that we do is voluntary. Time wise, I don't take a salary as the CEO of the organization because I just don't want to get give a mixed impression of what the organization's about. I guess it's not about me and getting money. It's about giving money to this organization so that they can help these kids. And so that's, it's the hot sauce thing. We do the Climbers Challenge, which is that devotional book. We're going to sell that online so people can buy it for their grandkids and whatever, and that'll be another fundraiser. We're also going to give it away to some of the youth organizations. We're working with one youth organization that's going to use it as a basis for their weekly meetings. So they'll just take one of those 5-minute things and have a good discussion about it one day, and that kind of thing. So we aren't anticipating it coming out for a little while, probably, I don't know, May or June, I would say. We're done with it. We just are working on the illustrations and things. So,
Yeah.
but you've read it and you saw it. It's a piece of, I think, my life in respect to the daily things are things that I think will help the kids in spiritual matters, basically loving God and loving others, in health and well-being, in family, and how you should treat your family and community. So it's kind of got those kind of 4 pillars of things to focus on, and much like our organization.
And it's really good, good for like up through high school, but I think it's going to be a fantastic resource for middle school kids, especially middle school kids who don't have the structure of a solid home life.
Yeah.
And I just think it's going to be such a great resource to introduce that population of kids to something that they may have never experienced before.
Yeah, it'll be tricky. I mean, it's really hard, if what I'm seeing is a lot of kids don't want to devote their time to things, but if we found some jewels out there that just come from the hardest backgrounds and work their butts off to earn a scholarship from the foundation. We got some great foundation applicants last year and a couple of the winners were just unbelievable stories, and just great to be able to support them, and they changed their whole family dynamic by the hard work they did through junior high and high school, and now they're shooting off into a major university or another type of school that's going to guarantee their future in respect to a solid family life and a solid income and things like that, which they didn't grow up with.
Yeah. So you're at the foundation, like you've started the foundation and it's going, but this wasn't your starting point. You started with the hot sauce back while you were still working at Farmers. Tell me about that path. What got you into making hot sauces? How did it turn into something that was really charity based? And then how did that transition into the Foundation for Kids?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good story, because it was really corporate life that kind of drove me to doing something on my own. And like you said, you and I have a lot of conversations over the years, and we still do every Thursday morning, that we challenge each other, and not only challenge each other, but there's so much we agree on relative to the dynamic of development and developing people and things like that, that it's a challenge. They're good, challenging conversations. As far as the hot sauce goes, I was challenged with corporate life because I had been in corporate life for, at that point, probably, I don't know, somewhere between 25 and 30 years. And I need something else, something to challenge my brain that's going to be different than corporate life. And so, part of me was saying, what could that be? The other part was we went to St. Thomas, and we were sitting at a breakfast bar, and I was eating a breakfast burrito, and I had this squeezed bottle of hot sauce, and I was putting a bead on the breakfast burrito and eating it and sweating, and then just putting another one and eating and sweating and just going, oh no, I'm addicted, I can't stop, and kept going. And I was
can we count how many wonderful things start with a breakfast burrito?
Well, the breakfast, I think, burrito is a basis for just about any evaluation of hot sauce, at least. And so from that, I said, where did we get this? And the chef there just made it. So he said, well, there's a place that makes it. And so on our way out of town, we grabbed makes something like it. So I grabbed some on the way out of town, got home, and it wasn't like it. And I was really disappointed. So I thought, I'm going to make my own. So I started making hot sauce, fruit-based hot sauces. And then I was bringing them over to the kind of men's breakfast at the church, and eating them there. And Pastor Tom over there at Monte Vista says, hey, did you ever think about just doing this for charity, making hot sauce? And I said, no. And then as I was walking back home from that meeting, I thought, I've got what I need. I don't need anything else. I can do something for charity. I think that there's a point in which you don't need any more money. and it's not rich. It's enough to feed you and your family, and that's where we were at. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to start this business. I'm do it on my own so I can experience everything, on my own. And so we started the hot sauce business in 2011, and I said it's going to charity. So one of the charities was Waiting for Water.
What was the first hot sauce, and then what was the first charity?
Yeah, okay. The first hot sauce was kiwi pear, and that was the original one. And that one was obviously fruit based, but I probably had like 10 of them, and that one was the one that people liked the most. So we started with that, and we went with a bunch of other ones. The first charity was called Waiting for Water, and that's a charity that basically digs wells in Africa for people that didn't have water. And we we had 4 charities that going on. It was Waiting for Water. Back in the day, it was Wounded Warrior Project, and 2 others. What were they? One was ultimately Send a Kid to Summer Camp, and so that was kind of the one that really I felt, because we went to summer camp, and I knew it's not that summer camp is always fun, because a lot of times summer camp I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go for various reasons, but whether you're shy, you're intimidated by all the kids, you're going to be away from home, the comforts of home, whatever. Sometimes I didn't like it. Sometimes I did. Sometimes I had a blast. But the point was you're getting off on your own and becoming independent. And I can't think of a way that I became more independent than going to camp. So and that's part of a parent's job, is to teach a child how to be independent. So that became my focus, how, sending kids to summer camp. So all of our proceeds that we had from the hot sauce went to that. It wasn't profits, it was proceeds. So I'd go out and buy the hot sauce. We'd sell the hot sauce, and the difference between the cost and the sale all went to send kids to camp.
Yeah. Well, and you did the same for, I think about, was it your black and blue sauce or Pride?
Yeah.
Tell us about what you did, not only where the money went, but also how you got involved with our old high school football program.
Yeah. So the black and blueberry hot sauce was called Panther Spirit, basically Spirit hot sauce. And it had a panther on the upper label, and then it had Old Boney Mountain on the lower label, and it was called black and blue because of hitting, making someone black and blue, but it was really blackberries and blueberries was the sauce, still is. And eventually what we did was we started a program at the high school where we awarded the kids players of the game. So they'd have offensive player of the game, defensive player, hitter, and special teams or whatever. And we did that years ago. I don't know, maybe, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And what's cool is we give them the hot sauce and stuff, and they take a picture of it with a bottle in their hand, and that they won that week, and it kind of encourages the kids. But the cool thing is to see these kids growing up now, and some of them, in the pros, and they're within this structure of discipline and development, and then they're carrying it into life and being successful. And so it's a good representation, I think, of what we're trying to do with the foundation, is really encourage kids and develop them into something. But this was before we started the foundation. This was just the hot sauce company supporting the community.
Right. And that's still, like, you've kind of let go of the hot sauce company, but people can still get the Old Boney Mountain brand of hot sauce, can't they?
Yeah. Actually, we're gonna put up a store at the foundation website. We just haven't yet, because there's a lot to it. Like, you have to change out the labels and all this other stuff. It's real simple to do, but you got to do it. And so, in fact, I just sent my order for labels in yesterday, and we got some. So we're gonna have all of that up and running probably within the next 30 days.
Yeah.
But,
I'm gonna share the screen. This is the Old Boney Mountain Foundation for Kids website, and you're saying that soon you will be able to get Old Boney Mountain hot sauce, which is the starting point. I mean, that's where this whole process started, and giving proceeds for each of those labels to charity. And then, it's locally made. It's, Old Boney Mountain has very special. In fact, why don't you tell us what Old Boney Mountain is?
Yeah, well, Old Boney Mountain, first of all, as you pen down the website, you'll see kind of our mission statement and stuff like that. But the Old Boney Mountain is the biggest landmark in Newbury Park. It's a mountain that we grew up under where we lived, and it always had a special meaning to everybody who lived here because it's a beautiful mountain. It's a place where it's kids can go and hike, and it's probably one of the best day hikes around. If you want to go to the top of a mountain, see the ocean, see the whole Canal Valley and everywhere around it, it's a beautiful hike. And but we grew up going to it. There's a little waterfall that's running pretty good right now because of the rain. There's an old chimney where someone used to live, made out of rock. There's the hike from the chimney all the way to the top that you think you're going to die because it's so hard and steep. And I always tell everybody, when you think you're about to die and you want to quit and go back, you're 10 minutes away.
Now, how did you use those landmarks with your hot sauce?
I put them on the label, and I put, let me see if I have one. I'll get the black and blueberry one. So this is the black and blueberry right here. See, there's a panther up top. Yeah. And then there's on the label, there's the if you can see it, there's the
windmill,
the waterfall, the chimney, and then the top. And you'll see a resemblance of the top. That top is 3 adults on the top, and that's my wife, myself, and my son. And then we converted that logo, you'll see on our foundation, to 3 kids at the top. And so it's kind of resemblance of growing from a kid or a youth into an adult, and that climb. And that's why the book is named Climber's Challenges, because it's a mountain. Old Boney Mountain is a mountain, but it's a rocky mountain. It's a solid mountain. It's a foundation, and it's good to make foundations on rock. And that's what that's about, is that. And the challenge of life brings you up and down through these, valleys of the mountain where when you climb up Boney, you go up, but then you got to go down into the valley. Then you got to climb up and traverse, and then you go up to the top. And that's kind of what it's about. It's that journey. And that's what made it a perfect name, I thought, because it meant so much to us growing up. But it was a perfect name for the foundation, because it is a foundation, and it's for the youth. So
before we kind of wrap things up here, I want a couple of lightning round questions, which is basically your first thoughts. So first of all, we'll go deep, and then I want to do a little bit of fun. Who are your heroes?
My heroes. I know that this is maybe cliche or something, but 2 of them right off the bat: Jesus Christ, because without Jesus Christ in your life, you have no true direction. And I think everybody, no matter what they're doing, needs a true north to bounce everything off of. And the scriptures are that. So that is number 1. If you look at my father, our father, who has been a rock his entire life, never faltering in his beliefs, and standing up for what he thought was right, and working hard for his family, and setting an example for the family, that would be another. And then heroes. I can't really think of any other heroes. I have had people that have been influential.
Well, yeah, tell me about people who are influential in your life growing up.
Yeah. So growing up, There was a guy named Bob Whaley who was the coach that I was talking about, who didn't have to take the time for kids and help them out, but he did. And when he did, he enabled me to become a good enough football player to play at the next level in college. And I don't think without him I would have done that, without his guidance. There's a lot of things I probably would have done different, not than what he taught me, but different as in a little bit more dedicated, a little more hard work, even than what I did. But he was influence. Actually, there's a guy, Brian Murphy, at work. He was our chief claims officer for a while, and he was a pretty tough guy. However, and when you met with him, it was always a challenging conversation, but you never left his office without feeling like you were developed in the business a little bit more. And it was almost like it was a strategy of his, where no matter how tough he had to get, or no matter what direction he was giving, at the end you felt developed, you felt challenged, and you felt like you were going out there to go do good work. So that was an influence.
Yeah, I had the same experience with him. I mean, there are so many stories that the Brian Murphy stories that people walk away with. They'd go and meet with him, and just he would decimate them with never agree with them and always push them. My experience with him is, yes, he would. If you didn't come in prepared, you walked out knowing you weren't prepared. And usually, like the following day or afterwards, there was some sort of way that he'd get back to you to help you understand your opportunity.
Yeah. He was real good at that, and he did challenge people to extents that they've probably never been challenged, and some people probably don't feel the same way we do about him, but
yeah,
but he was that. And I had a special relationship with him because when I was in charge of catastrophes with farmers and large losses, I met with him quite often about strategy around how to help our customers, and then how to run the business. And so I had a special relationship in that regard, because we had a lot of one-on-one time, and it was a good developmental time. And I think he was in that position for a good 10 years at least. So I worked with him quite a bit.
Yeah. So a little bit more fun here. So I want to know, think about movies, TV shows, all that kind of stuff. Who or what do you find yourself quoting most from a movie or a TV show, and I know what movies you watch. So,
well, that's a good question, because there was a time when I would quote, and that's been way past. And the quote was, "Man's got to know his limitations." And who would that be?
Outlaw Josie Wales.
Right. Clint Eastwood. And so I would say that's the only kind of quote that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But I like the action movies and the things that are inspirational too, like the Rockies and the things that kind of are, the hard work pays off stuff, and
good feelings. And
yeah.
I clearly can picture you saying a man's got to know his limitations. Yeah, that's accurate. So as we wrap things up here, I want to hear what's happening in the near future. I know that you've got a big festival coming up. You've got the hot sauce competition. Tell us about the things that are coming up, including kind of, when your anticipated release of the Climbers Challenges.
Yeah, so we have a lot going on right now. This is the busiest time of year. We just concluded our what we call Chili Winter's Eve, and now we're going into Hot Summer Night. So the Chili Winter's Eve is just getting to know the foundation. You come over to our yard, and we put on some live music, and we talk about the foundation and help people understand what it's all about. And that's it. No pretense to go, donate and stuff like that.
And you also weekly have your hot sauce grotto.
Yeah, so we have on Hot Sauce Grotto YouTube, we Shauna and I pull out hot sauces from the previous year, and we do kind of a review of them. We do 4 a week out of a grab bag. We just swing it, pull it out and talk about it. And so that's on what's called Hot Sauce Grotto. That's the YouTube channel, and it's called Tasting Notes. So those are kind of two things that we have going on. Upcoming is our hot sauce judging, which is the month of May, and it's really cool because we're going to have one. You can actually go to, in fact, John, go to the events page and go to Hot Summer Night, and this kind of gives you what's upcoming. So you can enter today for the hot sauce. There's May 13th to the 29th is the judging, and if someone has a passion for judging and is in Southern California, you can apply to be a judge right there. June 3rd is the Wild Oaks Country Music Festival, which we're going to have a big part of because we're going to have Hot Sauce Haven in there, Old Boney Mountains Hot Sauce Haven, where people can come and try hot sauces from all over. And then that's also going to be where People's Choice judging is. So after we judge all of the hot sauces, the 4 best are going to be there to be judged by the people at the event and say which one is the best in the world. And then July 8th is our live stream at the Hot Sauce Grotto itself, and that's going to announce all the winners except for the People's Choice Awards. And then July 13th is the People's Choice Awards and fundraiser at Tarantula Hill Brewery, where they have this big back lot that has a stage and tables and everything. And we're going to set up a live music event there where it's free. You come and you buy food and drink and whatever, and a portion of it goes to the cause. And we announced the People's Choice winners for the year, worldwide People's Choice Best Hot Sauce and Best Label. So that's what's going on upcoming. And but
now you have a goal to have a hot sauce from every country and a hot sauce from every state.
Yeah, it's a worthy goal because there's some countries that just probably don't make hot sauce. There's 195 countries, and I think we've had, I can't remember, it's on there somewhere, but it's like 33. No, we've had 33 states and I think 18 countries that have participated. So we need some more of each, and it's a worthy goal. I'm not sure we'll ever get there, but that's what, that's that. What do they call that goal? The
stretch goal.
Yeah, but it's I forget the one. I don't know. We had somebody come and talk about the big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yeah,
BHAG. But the key right now, if there's a business out there that wants to sponsor our event, if you do it before the June 3rd Wild Oaks Country Music Festival, it comes with tickets to that, almost pays for the sponsorship just by sponsoring. So check out our sponsors page, and that would be great to get some sponsors for the event, and that would go to the Old Boney Mountain Foundation for Kids and the Ventura County Fire Department Widows, Orphans, and Assistance Fund. So that's where all that goes to.
Well, great. You got a lot of cool stuff going on, and I think while the job at Farmers was big, what you're doing now is far more important.
Thank you. I think so too.
So, well, thank you for the time, Jeff. I look forward to all these events. I'm hoping that I can be involved in not only the World's Best Hot Sauce Awards show, but maybe even have some fun with the People's Choice at Tarantula Hill.
Oh yeah. You've been a great asset for us, John, and we appreciate everything you've done to help us over the last 6 years, 5 years, and this one coming.
Yeah. So this will go out to my dozens of viewers and followers and things like that. So, so I look forward to where this takes us in the future. So thank you for being a part of Living Life Juicy. I think you've shared how you are being present and kind and doing great things, not only just for our community, but for the world. So until next time, let's all live life juicy.